Welcome to Charts Today. It is Friday, the 29th of May, and we have a chart here. This is a 60-minute chart of crude oil. You can see that crude has been in quite a clear downtrend for the last several days, with the Middle East crisis, hopes of a solution. So that is not worrying markets, really. We're just seeing most things just pushing higher. If we look at the dollar, here we are in a sideways range, still waiting for the break. Most other currencies falling a little bit against the dollar. Sterling down just 1/5%. Bitcoin had big falls yesterday. That recovery is starting to look a little bit worrying. That was the daily chart. We're below the cloud on the 60-minute as well. And if we look at the Nasdaq, it was really interesting how we're seeing US markets all activating these big upside targets. So really now starting to see from a technical perspective, the markets are looking strong with strong upside targets. The futures look set to open just a little bit above today. We're seeing the UK market is just up slightly, but the chart very different here, not pushing to new highs, going into a very big consolidation phase there. And if we look at the 60-minute chart, that gives us a bit of a heads up, just waiting to see if we activate that downside target. We are breaking below the cloud. We're seeing the DAX in Germany up 1/3%, but again, not looking anywhere near as strong as those US markets now, just struggling to break to new highs. Japan is up quite strongly, and it is making new highs. The weaker yen helping there a little bit. Foreign earnings strength increasing. If we look at China, that had the Shanghai index a bit flat there, and India still really a big underperformer here below the cloud, and no real clear signs of recovery yet. And the Aussie market actually was up, but you can see again we're waiting to see which way we break, so it's very much sideways. Nothing really competing with US equities and the major indices. Looking at just some of the soft commodities, coffee is recovering a little bit, but it has broken down, and that is going to stay there. Sugar again has got a little bit of a recovery this morning, but when you look at the long-term picture on sugar, upside targets, this is the weekly, above the cloud, then downside targets below the cloud. The long-term trend is clearly lower. We're going into a sideways range here, medium term. Gold is actually up this morning, up 0.5%. So that is a little bit of respite, but realistically, this is below the cloud on the medium-term chart and still has a lot of work to do. Silver down this morning, and those downside targets hanging there as well. Some relief for US Treasuries. We're seeing the yield pulling back just slightly, but the reality is we did make new highs there. And if we look at the tech majors in the US, you can see they're all up. Some big moves here. Microsoft up 3.5%. Just waiting to see if we can activate that upside target. Go to the 60-minute chart, and you can see we need to break that range. And there's another upside target 5% higher. So that is starting to look a little bit like a recovery, just coming through the cloud there. And we saw Nvidia there up nearly 0.75%, and that upside target for Nvidia now the thing to watch. And Tesla, even Tesla has had this recovery now with an upside target as well. If we look at the Dow, and what I do with the Dow is I have my columns. In fact, I've got this on another screen. If I go to here, so I can rank the Dow by long-term, medium-term, and short-term trend on the clouds. If we are neutral, that's where we've got either the price or the lagging line in the cloud. If we are bearish, both are below. If we're bullish, both are above. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stocks in the Dow Jones that are bullish on all 3 time horizons, giving us a score of 6. Caterpillar is one, Merck is another. And it's just really about finding these stocks that have got strength, and then of course looking at the targets with them as well. Goldman Sachs, upside targets there on the weekly, the daily, and the 60-minute. Apple really quite key there. Also bullish, bullish, bullish. Amazon, bullish, bullish, bullish. And Cisco, bullish, bullish, neutral. Now, Coca-Cola loses a point because it is neutral on the 60-minute chart. But that's still a pretty good score of 5, and you can see the upside targets, and the shorter term trends do turn first. We can go the other way and look at the most bearish stock in the Dow 30 is McDonald's, below the cloud on the weekly, on the daily, and just below on the 60-minute, so not looking great. And then we can see there's only one stock, so it just shows the inherent bullishness of the Dow Jones, and that, of the US stocks, and that's really quite key there. If we go to the Nasdaq, we had some very big performances here, just continuing to go higher. In March we're at 116, and now they're at 350, so a tripling of the price there, really quite something. Looking at UK stocks as we go into the weekend, Auto Trader recovered from yesterday's falls this morning, but realistically that has made the lower low, so that's really quite key. EasyJet, we're seeing airlines recovering on hopes of a Middle East solution. It's still bearish below the cloud, of course, and at IAG, we talked about these yesterday, have got a couple of upside targets, but a long way from a strong performance there, so that's quite key. Looking at the other end of the spectrum, we've got things like British American Tobacco, not looking good there. Had those upside targets been met, so really quite key there, and that is very much the case of just looking for those performances, and you can go through any of the stocks you want. We're seeing oil starting to fall back, Shell, BP. Notice how this was happening before what we're seeing in the oil price now, so really quite significant there. And if we go again to the upside, we can just look for stocks here. BAE Systems and Defence, you'd think that was looking strong, but again, moves to the downside there as well. So the key thing is just to watch that US market opening today. It's really looking very strong now from a technical perspective. And even though the fundamentals might be questioned, the reality is we are seeing stocks pushing to new highs, activating these big upside targets. That's it for today. Have a great weekend. Until Monday, bye for now.